Now we were going to have an amazing and astonishing session about creativity in the field of Gen AI. Going to have very fascinated creators that are already behind the scenes preparing. So I would like to invite Dr. Eyal Brook, who's going to lead this session. And thank you all for this amazing session we had together. Enjoy. Thanks. And last but not least, you have an amazing posters outside with some of the top researchers. So if you want to learn more about what amazing research they are doing, you can watch it out after this. Thanks. That's it? We are all good?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the session, The Future of Creativity in the Age of Generative AI, number 2. It is a great pleasure to be here again. The creative achievements of AI, once unimaginable, are now an evolving and fascinating reality. We stand at the heart of an unprecedented creative revolution. Generative AI is creating music, art, text, and videos at a level that seems impossible just a few years ago. The new tools allow musicians, writers, photographers, animators, and others to break boundaries and explore new horizons. We are in a situation where AI is not just a technical tool, but a real partner in creating art. The question is no longer, can a machine create, but a much deeper question. What does this mean for human creativity? What is the essence of genuine creation, and what future do we want to shape? The advanced technology brings with it unlimited possibilities for creation, collaboration, and innovation and democratization of creativity. Today, anyone can become an artist and create music, art, films within minutes. But this raises fundamental questions. Is someone who provides a prompt to AI basically is truly an author? Or is the boundary between a tool and a creative partner? Are we witnessing a flourishing, creative flourishing, or a flood of cheap music and art that diminishes the value of genuine creativity? New AI artists are being increasingly created, and these are singers or bands that do not exist in the real world, but they do attract a massive following, emotions, fans, and real money and deals. And I would like to show you a few examples. למה לא רואים? So the Velvet Sundown is a highly publicized AI-generated band that gained over 1 million streams recently in June 2025. And the band appears suddenly in the middle of 25, releasing multiple albums, 1970-inspired psychedelic and folk rock music within weeks. All aspects of the Velvet Sundown, the music, the lyrics, even the band members' name and promotional images were created using AI tools. And after initial denials, basically, they admitted to using AI tools, and now it's defined as not quite human, not quite machine. So that's basically one example. Another example is singer Zanaya Monet.
You've been losing sleep, crying in the dark, trying to hold the weight of a broken heart. You smile for the world, but inside
She's an AI singer created by American songwriter Talisha Nikki Jones, and she has gained significant attention and led to a multi-million-dollar record deal. She's notable for being the first AI-generated artist to debut on a Billboard Airplay chart.
starts when you set it free. Let go, let God. He already knows every tear, every burden, every low. You were meant to break just to prove.
And also in Israel, we have My AI, which is the first Israeli AI singer created by Ron Peretz and developed by Peretz and managed by Peretz and Roberto Ben Shushan. She's a character which is active on social media and hosts prominent figures on her podcast. My AI has already played on the radio, and she will be singing with us later in a special performance created for this very evening. Also, we have recently been exposed to Art and Official, a pun on artificial, which is basically an album, the first AI-created Israeli album that's translating Israeli classics. The musician Guy Horowitz translated classic Hebrew songs into English and gave them to AI to perform.
בחלום שלי, הנוף חולף מולי, או שאני חולף מולו. For secret in every song, a bridge to cross over and beyond. Now all the strings are wound, I'm ready for its sound. I want to know.
So these examples basically are fascinating, I think, but they raise many, many questions and challenges. The legal dimension adds another layer of complexity. The legal system built on the assumption of the human author now confronts entirely new questions. For example, who owns a work created by AI? Is it copyright infringement to train an algorithm on existing copyrighted works without permission? Does the listener have the right to actually know whether what they're hearing basically is created by AI or a human being? What about deepfake? So courts around the world are now deciding precedents that will shape the industry for generations. And beyond all these, the deepest philosophical questions: what is creativity? Can emotions be coded? What makes a work authentic? And ultimately, what is humanity? Is creativity an integral part of what makes us human? Or does AI teach us that it was always just patterns and calculations? So today's conference is intended to address these questions and many others. We will hear from some of the world's leading experts in AI, art, technology, and music about the latest developments in this field, discuss the impact of AI on the creative processes and the opportunities and challenges, and try to understand together what the future of creativity, and in fact, humanity, will look like in the generative AI era. This is not just another technology conference. This is a conversation about who we are and who we aspire to be. This conference is a joint initiative of S. Horowitz and AI Week. S. Horowitz is Israel's leading and the oldest law firm, recently celebrated its 100th years anniversary, but alongside the tradition, we innovate and we have established a special department specializing in this developing and significant field, AI, aiming to assist companies to an organization to navigate in this new legal world. So I especially want to thank the distinguished speakers and participants, in particular those who arrived from the United States to participate in this truly unique conference. It is not taken for granted, and we really appreciate it. I would like to thank S. Horowitz, their managing partners, Benny, Eran, and Amit, and Limor, Rotem, and all the marketing team at S. Horowitz, to Gili, Dania, Ronnie, Revital, and the entire AI Week team for the hard work and assisting me in producing this conference. I would also like to warmly thank the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, in particular to Joseph Gdaliau and Orly Jackson-Cohen for their support in bringing over such distinguished guests. This is much appreciated. Thank you. And to you, thank you for coming over, especially in this weather and despite Byron. And we wish you a fruitful, interesting, and inspiring conference. I'm sure you'll enjoy. Let us begin. We will start with 3 engaging short presentations about music, technology, AI, and its potential for transformation. So I would like to invite the first speaker, Yaki Gani, for the first presentation. Yaki Gani is an entrepreneur, co-owner of the consulting firm Staff, the creator of the successful Hakol Mebina conference series on integrating AI into the creative world, and a musician in the band Rock 4. Over the past 2 years, he has been experimenting with AI, music, video, and various emerging technologies, pushing the boundaries of what AI can do. Today, he's taking us into his new lab experiment, Playing with Tech. Please welcome Yaki Gani.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much, Eyal. My name is Yaki. I'm a co-founder of a consultancy agency called Staff, but I'm an entrepreneur. In the last, I think, 20 years, and I've invested in many startups. Some have failed magnificently, and some did pretty good. But before all that, I'm a musician, the kind that started playing the piano, the 2-stage organ in the age of, 4.5. And apparently I played pretty good, because in the last 20 years, I had the privilege to join a rock band I grew up on its music called Rock 4. And thank you. It's amazing to play with Rock 4, but I think in the last 1.5 years, I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm playing with dead people. Yes, it sounds weird, but basically I'm using a lot of different AI models to kind of resurrect amazing artists. I grew up on their voices and their music, and I find myself actually playing with artists like David Bowie and Freddie Mercury and Kurt Cobain. I had the pleasure to play with Dan Toren and Yotam Chaim, and also had a song with Johnny Cash and Frank Sinatra, and even played with Amy Winehouse, not the real ones, of course, but a different AI experiment of trying to get their voice and do something different with them. But then, in the last, 2 to 3 months, a lot of things have happened in the AI world. I think the first one, I don't know how many of you are creating or trying to create music with Suno or Udio, but basically what happened that the music algorithms now have a soul. So if you know how to work and how to prompt things with Suno, Udio, or different generative AI models, music becomes really emotional, and I can get a live orchestra, not a live one, but an orchestra or different things I couldn't have done before to play together with me. The second thing that happened, that imagination turns into streaming. So when we see the video models from Sora and VO3 and many more, everything we're just thinking, every simple thought or imagination we have can become, in 5 to 6 minutes, can be a video on social media. So every idea we have, the time to put it as a video or something that people can actually see becomes very, very fast. And the third thing is that I'm a little bit tired. Not tired of playing, of course, but tired of this concept of playing with dead people, because it's fun, it's amazing, it's my dream coming true to play with amazing artists, but then I'm trying to figure out if the pace of AI is so fast, I'm trying all the time to do something else. And my trick is that basically, I'm just playing. I'm listening to music in the radio, Spotify, whatever. I find a song I like. I take it to my Logic software. Simple right-click on the mouse, and I divide the stems. I take the vocals and just play with it. Sitting at night, playing piano with a lot of different artists and songs I like. And I try to find something that I can do something bigger with it. Not just playing with it, but do something different. And then this song popped out.
She packed my bags last night, pre-flight.
You all know that song, right?
0 hour, 9 a.m.
One of the most amazing songs of Elton John, Rocket Man. And I thought, okay, maybe I can do something with this song. It's this part in his life where Elton has kind of stepped back from the stage and stopped performing. And I said, okay, this is a great time to make a tribute, right? I want to create a tribute for Elton John, but I don't want, again, a lot of singers coming up to the stage and give him a tribute, or definitely not the dead artists. So I'm thinking, what can I do different with Elton? And I'm trying to think, what, besides this amazing song, what is the best project Elton have ever done in his life? Do you know what it is? This one. You should have said it. So I thought of The Lion King. For me, it's the best Disney movie in the world, in all times, and I think the best soundtrack in the world. Elton's songs and Hans Zimmer's arrangement, the amazing combination between a Disney orchestra to African-style music, and I thought it took them so much time to create this video and soundtrack. I said, okay, I want to use the characters from The Lion King to actually give him this tribute. So when I had this idea, like Timon once said, I said,
it starts.
It starts. So I started working on this project. The first thing was to create the music. So I'm working a lot with Suno. What I'm basically doing is playing the basic piano together with my vocals and then upload it to Suno and just try to generate a lot of different arrangements. I'm asking for philharmonic sessions. I'm asking for different African concept style of arrangement. And my trick is to just generate a lot of music and then sit down easily for a few hours listening to everything and try to cut and edit and make something of my own. So I take my piano, and Suno brought amazing tracks. It could bring me this emotional orchestra style of a track like this one. I have the emotional part, but then I want some dramatic drums, so I have this one. And then the dark concept of The Lion King, this amazing choir of African voices, right? And I want it to be also part of my concept. So I asked a lot of different concepts of choirs singing according to my chords, and this is what I got. I don't know what they're singing, but it sounds amazing. But the concept is that I don't want Suno to do the job for me. I don't want AI to play the song. I want to be a part of it. I want to be the producer of the song. I want the AI to be one of the, I don't know, the partners or the players. So I find myself playing a lot. I'm trying to play with different instruments, all the instruments I have at home, and I have a lot. I find myself testing a lot of stuff. It feels like this is the first time I can play drums with African drums. It's the first time I can play a piano with an amazing philharmonic orchestra, playing different arrangements, and I have the playback. And then I'm going to the voices, who's going to sing the song. So I'm trying to work different than just modeling the voices. I'm trying to do something new. So I'm working a lot with 11 Labs, one of the leading platforms for text-to-voice. And they had a new feature saying you can design a voice. Just explain what kind of voice you want, and we can design the voice for you. So I don't need to use the original one. And in order to do that, I want to read the actual playbook on how to do it in the best way. So I take the playbook. I don't actually read it. I put it on ChatGPT because I'm telling them I want you to read it and to be the perfect guide on how to write prompts. By the way, this is not how it looks. This is how the playbook looks like. So I take the playbook, I put it on ChatGPT, and then I'm asking the chat to kind of create or explain the voices of the characters. So ChatGPT brings me the description of each voice. He says, Rafiki in The Lion King has a raspy, eccentric, high-pitched, yet gravely voice that mixes wisdom with playfulness. His speech is of course, I couldn't write it on my own, so I take these voices, I put it on 11 Labs, and then I just hit the voices, the voice design, I put the prompt, and then I have all the Lion King characters on the side. I can use them. So just to test how they say the sentence, hello Simba, this is Mufasa.
Hello, Simba.
Okay, nice. Scar.
Hello, Simba.
And of course, Timon.
Hello, Simba.
Okay, not that good. But then again, I need to test a lot of different stuff. So I have different voices, and I'm going to the video. So how they're going to actually sing the song. I'm using Crea. Crea is a hub to test different AI video models. So I use Crea to actually generate different types of characters. Each of one, I'm modeling a specific character, so I can direct it and see and ask the platform to recreate the images as I want. And there's a lot of different models. Okay, there's tons of different models of how to use it. I usually use Nano Banana and Flux, two great AI models, to do what I want with the characters. And it brings amazing stuff, okay? The visuals are great. I can direct each and every character in each and every scene. It does a great job, but also, again, there's a lot of flops, right? I'm enjoying the flops, like in the top right where Timon has 3 heads, or I don't know, I have different 2 Pumbas, and a lot of funny stuff I'm getting for the platform. But what I wanted to do is take this bug. Do you remember this bug on the bottom right? You know who that is? He had like 5 seconds in the movie, on the original movie, where Pumbaa just ate him, just to show Simba that you can eat bugs. I wanted to give him his new break and give him another role. So I asked ChatGPT, this is the bug from The Lion King, even with a typo. This is the bug from The Lion King and Timon and Pumbaa scene. Make him play a violin on white background. He said, of course, ta-da, and gave me the bug plays the violin. And I said, okay, I just want one violin. I wanted a big orchestra of bugs playing violins. And he gave me the bugs playing violins. And then I went to Higgsfield, another engine that have a lot of different AI models to kind of take those photos and bring them to life and animate them and do the lip sync. And again, the model did amazing job. So each frame I had, Higgsfield could actually animate it and create different animations. Also here, I had a lot of very funny bugs that suddenly Pocahontas appeared on the top right, or the characters kind of became something different, or suddenly Rafiki had a banana and an apple in his hand. I don't know where he got it. A lot of funny stuff. But then again, I wanted to take the original opening scene, you know, that scene, that shot where Zazu is flying over the cliff and Mufasa is standing there. I wanted to recreate this shot, but I didn't want Mufasa over there because he's not there in the first scene. I wanted to take Timon and put them over there. So I took it to Photoshop. I erased Mufasa and I added Timon playing a piano, because I wanted to stand on the top of the mountain, on top of the cliff, playing a piano. So I put him over there, and then recreated the shot where Zazu is flying over the cliff, and Timon is standing over there playing the piano. And then again, I did a lot of different stuff. I tried to recreate the characters on a green screen so I can plant them in different pieces of the movie, and even tried to play a real video and transform it to an animated scene, but it didn't work that good, so I dropped it. And then I used another AI tool to add sound effects. So I used Audio to give me a little bit of the sound effects from, I don't know what the difference between zebras and rhinos in the sound effect. So I asked the model to do it for me, and then of course upscaled it because I tried to kind of recreate the same 2D animation that was in the original movie, but in new shots. I'm talking fast and it sounds very easy, I think, but the number of hours I played and tried to recreate each and every scene. Morning becomes night, night becomes morning. Every day I have like, 50 minutes and half an hour and 2 hours and 6 hours just to work on it. It's a very big and long project. It sounds easy, but it's recreating something totally new. And it's not one tool, right? There's tons of tools I'm using to work on this project, from 11 lobs to the voices, sooner to the part of the music, ChatGPT to help me with all the concept and write the prompts, Nano Banana, Crea, Flux, Higgsfield, one different AI, either visual or video models, and then again, Audio and Topaz Labs for upscale and sound. You want to hear the song? Perfect. So this is Rocket Man.
Last night, pre-flight, 0 hour, 9 a.m. She do quiet, I'm singing, and I'm gonna be high as a kite by then. I miss the earth so much. I miss my wife. It's lonely out in space on such a timeless flight. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round into fine. I'm not the man they think I am at all. No, 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 no. I'm a rocket man. Rocket man, running on his fuse and parallel. Mars ain't the kind of place to raise your tears. In fact, it's cold as hell. And there's no one there to raise them.
If they did.
And all the science I don't understand. It's just my job, 5 days a week. Rocket Man. Rocket Man.
And I think it's going to be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round into fine. I'm not the man they think I am at all. Oh, no, no, no. I'm a rocket man. Rocket man. Burning on his fuel time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh no, 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 I'm a rocket man. Rocket man, burning on his flames and here alone. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. And I think it's going to be a long, long time. And I think it's going to be a long, long And I think it's going to be a long, long time.
And I think it's gonna be a long, long time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Yaki, for this brilliant presentation and film. And I think this exemplifies the complexity of actually creating. It's not just like, just about one prompt, it's an easy. You saw how many tools, how many AI tools Yaki has used, and we will talk about it later. So thanks very much. The next speaker is Dr. Netta Maimon. Dr. Netta Maimon is a neuroscientist, a musician, whose work sits at the intersection of brain science, sound, and technology. She is a founder and CEO of Neurofy, a company developing real-time AI audio modulation to enhance focus, reduce fatigue, and improve cognitive performance. Netta is a lecturer at Tel Aviv University in music cognition and technological creativity, and a senior researcher at Neurosteer, where she studies auditory brain dynamics, cognitive load, stress biomarkers, and the early detection of cognitive decline using single-channel EEG. So I would like to invite Dr. Netta Maimon with strings, synapses, and silicon hearts. Can AI music touch our minds?
Just a second. Right now, when you're listening to me, trying to focus on the information that I'm giving to you, your brain is processing the information. The system responsible for that is the executive control. It's in the frontal part of your brain, right here, the prefrontal cortex. It's the CEO of the brain, responsible for decision-making, small or large. What to do next, where to move information, what to focus on and how much, and how to resist other distractions. Right behind me, you can see the activity of this network in green. The height of the green line, the size of the green area, and the word focus will get larger as my focus increases. It's made possible by the device that I'm wearing, by Neurosteer. It's a mobile EEG device that with advanced signal processing and AI is able to extract in real time the activity of different brain functional networks. But at the same time that you're focused, there's an enemy to your sharp focus. It's the drift. When you're drifting away from the information that needs processing and find yourself wandering away to internal thoughts. How's the weather gonna be outside when I leave? Should I have eaten that last cake? Interesting research that comes from fMRI, a machine that enables us to see brain areas activated during different tasks and conditions, found that when we're not engaged in a specific task, like being asked to listen to something, calculate or solve a problem, or to read, it's not just that our brain shut down. Our activity is not random. There are specific brain areas that are connected to each other only when we are in that mind-wandering state. Only when we stare, let our mind wander, and flow with the thoughts, does this unique system lights up. It's called the default mode network because it's considered to be the default mode of our brains. Now, that's a very easy place to go to. It doesn't need our resources. We don't need to focus or make immediate, endless decisions. We just drift apart and let our minds wander. Did you see the drift? But interestingly, it's not just fun, easy place to go to. It's an important system for creativity. This default mode state is the place where the most creative thoughts come from. You know, like the thoughts that we have when we shower, right? It's the ideas that are out of the box, the aha moments, when we try to think of a word on the tip of our tongue all day long, but suddenly, only when we try to sleep, we retrieve it. Metronome, that's the one. This mode is important for being creative these days when we have the enemy of smartphones and constant boosts of dopamine and very short attention spans needed to get what we want. That's the enemy of the default mode network, of creative thinking, of solutions that are outside of the box. So these two networks, the focus and the drift, are like a seesaw to each other. If we want to be high in focused, the drift is low. If we want to start to mind wander, boom, we lose attention. If you have a task now and you want to be focused as possible, then you need to be as low as you can with your drift. You need to control it. And if you are in your creative zone, you want the ability to stay completely with no external distractions. The secret is in the control between them. Attention deficits or just cognitive fatigue are caused when we don't have the control or the ability to sufficiently move between the two networks. These two depend on each other to function optimally. We want the focus to be high when needed and the default mode, the drift, to be activated when we don't need to focus. How do we move between them? There's a button. It's not an on and off button, but a dimmer that moves us from the drift to the focus. It's the alert. You need to be in a spatial zone of alertness in order to be at the optimal focus level to process information. What is alertness in the brain? The alert system is the brain's alarm if something is dangerous. Imagine our ancestors when they move in the jungle. If they heard a small sound of leaves, they needed to know very fast whether to fight, and this is a rabbit they're gonna eat for dinner, or flight, because this is a big lion. Our entire system in the brain, the alarm system, is wired to detect these subtle clues and immediately send the whole body alarm message, adrenaline, cortisol, all the hormones our body needs to have energy now. The heartbeat gets stronger in order to start running fast or fighting. So these same hormones, in the right amount, will move you from the drift to focus. You need to be a little alerted, a little aroused. Have you noticed? It's not random. The auditory sense is the one that activates alertness the highest. Again, remember our ancestors. The auditory sense is the one that enables us sensitivity to things that we don't see. Our auditory system is the closest to the alarm and alertness system, which is not always a bad thing. The kind of alertness can also rise from the face of your lover before you kiss. That's why the auditory sense has a direct pathway to the emotional parts of our brain. And this is where music comes in. Music is able to activate the alertness system in so many diverse ways and levels. But when we listen to music, it's not only that we are alerted and emotionally activated, but we actually move through these same three systems. When we listen carefully to the words or predict the next chord or beat, we use the focus. When we find ourselves lost for a moment, thinking about nothing, or suddenly having the bright solution for a long problem, that's a drift. While we listen to the same musical piece, the human experience of music, listening and playing is moving through these brain systems and others, through emotion and alertness to focus, back to drift, and again. Shall we try? You will now listen to me playing and maybe see my brain activity while I'm doing so. Let's see the movement between the networks, the alertness, the focus, and the drift. Do we press play? Yes, that's the one. Sorry. Could you see my stressing out because I don't hear the playback? Thank you. I hope that you could see more than only my stress of me playing classical music, which I didn't play for a long time. So, and how about AI-generated music? Does listening to music generated by AI result in the same brain activity and human experience as when we listen to all music that was written so far? Well, unfortunately, we're just at the start of this research and much more is needed. But we're starting to see some evidence showing that these systems are actually activated differently. The most repeated effect, though needs many, many more replications, is that the focus network, the brain system that activates when we need to focus, is actually working harder when listening to AI-generated music versus human music. One study found that people blink more and have larger pupil dilation in response to AI-generated music. These are the proxies for mental load, the burden that is needed in order to listen. Why is that? Another study using EEG, which is a kind of a device like this, showed that the brain response was different to unpredictable things in music, like harmony or something that is unpredicted in the AI-generated music and not in the human music. What combines these two effects together? It's the process of entrainment, not entertainment, but entrainment. It's how we sync together. Let's all clap our hands together, please. Did you feel that? When we're all synced to the same beat, we immediately connect more to each other, creating a large social bond. That boosts our mood immediately. Research about the evolutionary sources of music saw that this might be the reason why our ancestors developed music. It's something they did tens of thousands of years ago, and it was to make their tribes stronger through social bonds created by syncing together into the beat. Our brains are predicting machines. They are occupied in predicting what's coming next all the time. We need that for survival. When we hear the beat, our brain entrains to the beat immediately. We represent the beat in our brains, and then the beat appears when it appears when we predicted it to be. We feel a short burst of dopamine, happiness. We just love syncing to the beat. What does this have to do with AI-generated music? Well, when we musicians are synced to the beat, we are not machines. We are not metronomes. We have a slight jitter between the beats. We don't play exactly on the beat, but it's not random. Within the beat's limits, we play with the tempo a little. It's not necessarily conscious, but it's with intent. By playing with the beat, we embed clues of what's coming next in the music, whether the melody now will go up or down, or if the next chord will serve as a solution. When real humans play music, the very, very small changes in the beat or pitch height are making you better in predicting what's coming next. Without those, you need to work much harder to focus, and you're much more surprised when something unexpected happens. AI-generated music lacks of that. Can you give me a beat? much.
Thank you very much, Neta, and for this fascinating presentation. And we will discuss the differences between AI-generated and human-created music later. Before we turn into the last presentation in this section, I would like to show you a video clip of a song created this week. It's very new, by Guy Barr. It's called Shvira. And basically, he would like to ask the question, can AI feel a broken heart? So, Shvira is fragile, is a work that combines human text about fragility of the soul with a performance and music video created using advanced artificial intelligence. The process is as follows, basically. The lyrics are 100% human. He wanted to maintain complete humanity, but the melody is about 200 versions with Suno until he found the exact style. The character creation, the face, the body, the hairstyle, the expression, clothing, all built specifically for the video using Nano Banana Pro. The shorts and directions were used by Kling and VO 3.1, and the lip sync using Kling Speak. So the bottom line is that after 1,500 generation altogether of music, images, and shorts, Guy had the raw material and from there to editing. But the real challenge, he claims, wasn't technological, it was human. How to tell a story, how to create a feeling of sadness through technology, and how, if at all, can you touch the heart using AI?
יש לי לב מזכוכית שקופה, לפעמים חלשה, לפעמים מתקיפה, שמה חיוך כאילו לא שבורה, אבל עמוק בפנים הכל מרגיש רע. יש הרבה רסיסים של אור בעולם, הם תמיד מתנפצים שהוא נעלם, אף אחד לא יודע מה קורה בתוכי, והראש שלי אומר לי תברכי, תברכי. אני שבירה אבל אוהבת את זה, אני שקופה עד ששומרים את הלב הזה, אל תיגע, זה חד מדי, אל תלך תישאר איתי אולי. לפעמים אני זורחת ככה סתם פתאום, כאילו לא כאב לי כלום עד היום, אבל תוך שנייה הכל יכול להתנפץ, מרגישה איך העולם סביבי מתפוצץ. אני שבירה אבל אוהבת את זה, אני שקופה עד ששוברים את הלב הזה, אל תיגע, זה חד מדי, אל תלך תישאר איתי אולי. אז אם תשמע אותי נשברת קצת, אל תיבהל, אני חוזרת עוד מעט, כי גם מזכוכית אפשר לבנות מי שישלל מה שלא מפחדת מעצמה. אני שבירה אבל אוהבת את זה, אני שקופה עד ששורים את הלב הזה, אל תיגע, זה חד מדי, אל תלך תישאר איתי אולי.
All created by AI. It's quite amazing. Thank you. So I would like to invite Oded Davidov for the last presentation in this section. Oded is a musician, a music producer, a sound engineer, and a lecturer in the field of music technology and AI. He's the head of the music production department at Rimon School of Music. Oded worked with leading musicians in Israel, including Yoni Rechter, Yudit Ravitz, Evyatar Bana, Eli Botner, and many more. Oded was the head of the promo and voiceover department at Galei Tzahal and Galgalatz. and his 15 minutes of fame was as the creator of the viral hit Nachash Oti Nachash. So I would like to invite Oded for the remarkable application of AI-generated voices.
Hi, thank you, Eyal. I want to start off by apologizing if any of you saw my photo in the program and were expecting someone else. They asked for a headshot, and I recently lost like 40 kilos, and I had no current headshot, so I just used AI to make one, and it doesn't look exactly like me, so I'm sorry for that, but that's me. Okay, so I want to tell you the story of how I want to start by telling you the story of how I stole a voice. Many of you, I guess, probably know Arik Einstein, one of the most recognizable singers and probably the greatest Israeli singers ever to live. I wanted to create a model of his voice because he's no longer with us. But to do that, I had to use some AI tools first in order to create that model. And the first thing I had to do was take a song of his that some of you probably know. And I needed to have just the vocals of that song. Now that's something, I'm not sure you're aware, but that's something that up until a few years ago was science fiction. I mean, our brains can do a remarkable job of hearing the song and knowing what's the voice, what are the instruments, but for a computer, it's just a bunch of numbers. And to be able to differentiate that and turn what we just heard into that,
אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. אני ואתה אז יבואו כבר כולם.
That's quite remarkable, and that was never possible. So now, using that tool, which is not very new, it's been around for a while, I can take that voice about, I mean, best is like 45 minutes of that, of just Arik singing, and turn that into a model. Now, with that model, I can take myself singing some, you know, even like a stupid children's song like that.
יונתן הקטן רץ בבוקר אל הגן.
And just apply Arik's voice to that so that it sounds like that.
יונתן הקטן רץ בבוקר אל הגן.
Now, that's nice, but it doesn't really sound like him, right? But if I try to do it with a bit more emotion and kind of sound like he would sing it, something like that,
יונתן
that's me.
הקטן רץ בבוקר אל הגן.
And now if I apply him to it, oh, sorry. Will I be able to do it?
יונתן הקטן רץ בבוקר אל הגן.
No, that's him. That's the way he would do it. So I had a voice model of Arik, and like 2 years ago, I was being hosted in a panel, in an event sort of like that one, and another guest on that panel was Yizhar Ashdod. He's another famous singer in Israel, and I wanted to make him a surprise. So I took Yizhar's song.
אל תלכי במורד של מסדרון אינסופי כל הדלתות מובילות לחדר אחד.
And I used that same AI tool that I used to separate the voice from the music, but the other way around. I just needed the music now. And then I could do my own impression of Arik Einstein singing that song of Yizhar's. And it sounded like that. That's me.
במורד של מסדרון אינסופי כל הדלתות מובילות לחדר אחד.
And now all that was left to do was just take Arik's model and apply it to my singing of Arik.
אל תלכי במורד של מסדרון אינסופי כל הדלתות מובילות לחדר אחד. חדר ריק על הגג שלו הגשם דופק מספר לך שאת לבד. התקרה בו כחולה וכחולים הקירות ותלויה בו מראה שמראה מה היה יכול להיות בעולם מקביל שם אנחנו אוהבים תמיד במרחק נגיעה מכאן במרחק נגיעה בעולם מקביל שם הלב אף פעם לא רגיל במרחק נגיעה מכאן במרחק נגיעה מכאן.
Okay, now, thank you. Kind of makes you wish it was a song, you know, he really performed that song, right? Now, I had no permission to do that. Obviously, it's not legal. You know, it's not legal to do it. And this is why, you know, this can't be released because what I did was actually steal a voice. But what if, instead of stealing a voice, we could use that same technology to be giving a voice? A few years ago, we had a new student come to Rimon. That's a music school where I'm the head of the music production department. And that student's name is Andy Bar-Ilan. Andy was born with CP, cerebral palsy. And he's an incredible person. When he came to Rimon, his father told Yuda Eder, the president of Rimon, I'm giving you a present. And we had no idea how right he was. Andy is truly he was an incredible student, he's an incredible person. And as part of his final project, after 3 years of learning in Rimon, he wrote an album, an EP, a short album. And the only problem is that Andy has a hard time speaking and singing. This is him from the final stage of a yearly contest we're doing called Shirimon, where he performs other people's songs. He got to the final, and he's doing a song called The Automatic Dancer, Al-Rakdan Automati by Tzvika Pik. So this is Andy. By the way, if you can see on his cheek, there's a wheelchair. He's just like a wonderful, crazy guy, and that was, you know, his idea. Okay, so definitely. So for his final project, he wrote songs. And let me start by playing you one of the songs that he wrote. This is the sketch that he recorded of the song. So now I want to go back to that panel that I did with Izar Ashdod and Arik Einstein, because that kind of did its thing on the web, and some people saw it. And among the people who saw it was Eran Weitz, who is also a teacher at Rimon, and he was the teacher in charge of Andy's project. And he thought we can use that technology to help Andy with his song. And he came to me, and together with Eran and Andy and Michael, who's the student, Michael Tal, who's the student who produced his project, first of all, we debated with Andy, because Andy had his reservations about this. he felt that it's cheating, that it wouldn't be really him. So we said, okay, let's try it and see how you feel about it. So we created a model of Andy's. We didn't need to extract things using AI. We had Andy, so we recorded him for 45 minutes, and then we built that model just like we did with Arik Einstein. And then we took that song, Michael, the producer, sang it. That's the version with Michael.
ביסודי ישועתו הוא הרביץ לכל הכיתה כל הדרך איתי בחזור לא הפסיק לקלל את המורה.
And now I want to play you the final version, which is Michael's vocals but with Andy's voice.
ביסודי ישועתו הוא הרביץ לכל הכיתה כל הדרך איתי בחזור לא הפסיק לקלל את המורה.
You can hear the full song if you want. I think that the main point is that AI is just a tool. And I think that we, the people, we have the ideas. We're the ones who decide how to apply those tools to do something incredible. With the same tool that allows me to steal a voice, I can truly create something that was unimaginable. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Oded, for this touching presentation, and really shows the power of AI. It happened also in the US with famous American singer Randy Travis recently, who lost his voice a decade ago and recently released a new song with AI. The next performance is a special performance created for this evening. It's called Artificial Humanity, Chapter 2, Echoes of the Self. In an age where AI composes music, paints artwork, and imitates our voices, we ask, what's left of the human creative self? So Echoes of the Self is a live performance that delves into the profound question across three parts, three echoes that encapsulate our evolving relationship with generative AI. The first echo is the human voice. The first part presents a fully human performance, a live interpretation of Shir Lamaalot, a sacred Hebrew psalm rooted in tradition and memory. This is performed by myself with Tanya Vinokor on the violin and Nofar Margaliot vocals. So this piece carries the soul, the breath, the spontaneity and authentic expression, the kind of performance only real human presence can deliver. It connects us to the past, to the ritual, and to emotion that can't be coded. This is the first echo, the resonance of something real. The second echo is the AI reproduction. We then shift to a version of Shir LaMa'alot generated entirely by AI. This piece features My AI, the first fully virtual Israeli singer created by Ron Peretz and managed by Ron and Roberto Ben Shushan. The performance is projected on screen, synthetic vocals, clean harmonies, algorithmic polish, no breath, no chaos, no sweat on stage. This is the second echo, a mirror without a soul. The third echo is the human versus the machine. In the third echo, we no longer separate man and machine. We collaborate. We remix the AI-generated version with live human layers, vocals, violin, and electronic beats. So the remix is produced by Peter Spacey, Omer Luz, a DJ, digital creator, and the co-creator of this project, who join us virtually from Thailand. This is a hybrid voice of our time. The sacred and the synthetic, the ancient and the futuristic, all fused into one living, evolving performance. This is the third echo, a new kind of authorship, artificial humanity. So artificial humanity is not about choosing sides, it's about co-creation, not man versus the machine, but a new space where both enhance each other, not imitation, but transformation. So this show was created by myself and Omer Luz, Peter Spacey. The music was produced by Omer and the visuals by Ron Peretz. Please welcome Tanya Vinokur on the violin, Ofar Margaliot on the vocals, Omer Luz, electronica, and Ron Peretz, My AI, as the AI vocalist.
עיני אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מעם השם, עושה שמיים וארץ, אל ייתן למות רגלך, אל ינום שומרת. הנה לא ינום ולא ישן, שומר יסובר. השם שומר אשר, השם צלח על יד ימינך. יומם השמש לא יכאב, וירח בלילה. השם ישמר מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך. השם ישמור צדקך ובואך מעתה ועד עולם. עולם. עזרי מעם השם, עושה שמיים וארץ, אל ייתן למות רגליך, אל ינום שומרך. הנה לא ינום ולא ישן, שומר ישראל. השם שומרך, השם צילך על יד ימינך. יומם השמש לא יכאב, וירח בלילה. השם ישמר מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך. השם ישמור צדקך ובואך מעתה ועד עולם. עולם.
Thank you very, very much. Great to be back on stage. Right, and now we would like to start the panel, and we have very distinguished guests that I would like to invite. So first, I would like to invite Wendy Starland. Wendy Starland is an icon in the music industry. She is, yes, please give her a warm welcome. She has discovered and developed 14-time Grammy, Oscar, and 2-time Golden Globe winning icon Lady Gaga. She developed Lady Gaga's career during the recording of Lady Gaga's debut album, The Fame. She has worked herself, was honored by the Songwriters Hall of Fame, Grammy nominated on Moby's album Last Night, and was awarded VH1 Best Emerging Artist. She has written and licensed hundreds of songs and has performed or recorded with Lady Gaga, Moby, Snoop Dogg, Wu-Tang Clan, Black Eyed Peas, Sheryl Crow, Foo Fighters, Jack White, MTV, CBS, Fox, and many, many others. Wendy Starland was inducted into the UN Council of Global Change. She's a co-founder and president of Music Soul, a new one-stop streaming platform that uses AI to drive mass promotion from the brands to content creators, allowing them to retain a substantial amount of the streaming and advertising revenues. Please welcome Wendy Starland. I would like to invite Mr. Jack Joseph Puig. Jack is a multiple Grammy Award-winning producer and technologist. He has worked with some of the world's best and iconic artists like the Black Eyed Peas, Lady Gaga, U2, Guns N' Roses, Michael Jackson, Robbie Williams, Barbara Streisand, Rolling Stones, Bette Midler, Elton John, and George Harrison, to name just a few. But he's also developing the next generation, working with leading consumer companies like Google, Dell, Facebook, Motorola, and Intel, developing the next generation of consumer electronic products, and a vice president of creative innovation for the consumer division of Waves Audio, an Israeli company, the world leading developer of audio DSP technologies for music, movies, and games. Please welcome Jack Joseph Puig. I would like to invite Rami Kleinstein. Rami Kleinstein is a prominent and one of the most loved Israeli singer-songwriters, composer, songwriter, and music producer. Sorry. He was born in New York, immigrated to Israel at the age of 8, and marking the beginning of a prolific career in the music industry. He is recognized for creating timeless songs that resonate with audience and expanded creative horizons by venturing into film soundtrack and successful albums. Partnered with ex-wife and famous Israeli singer Rita in creating successful albums, including the debut releases that catapulted both artists to prominence, and in 2023 was awarded the Acum Lifetime Achievement Award. Rami, thank you for coming over. So I would like to invite Dr. Lital Hellman. She's a professor of law and an expert on law and technology. She earned a doctoral degree from the University of Pennsylvania Law School as a Fulbright Scholar and fellowship at Columbia Law School and NYU School of Law. She served on the advisory board of national and international bodies regulating AI, and until recently was responsible for developing policies on IP and technology at the Israeli Ministry of Justice. Lital was also selected as one of the Israeli top 5 female entrepreneurs, and is a 2-time Israeli national debating champion. Please welcome Lital. And last but not least, Sharon Moldavi is a music entrepreneur and content expert with 20 plus years experience across streaming, internet, print, audio, and television. As a co-founder and CEO of Josie Music, Sharon leads innovation at the intersection of music discovery, community, and AI-driven listening experiences. Previous director of innovation content at Waves Audio, Sharon developed VR, AR, and other content formats leveraging cutting-edge 3D audio technologies for global markets. And he also brings a long-standing career as a musician, former singer of Gan Hayot, as a DJ, a writer, and a lecturer and curator in the Israeli music industry, collaborating with leading media outlets and educational institutions. Please welcome Sharon. Okay, so first, thanks again very much, Wendy and Jack, for coming over. It's really much appreciated. And I would like to start, Wendy, with you. This conference is about the future of creativity. So I'd like to ask, is creativity an integral part of what makes us human? I mean, is there a risk that we will lose something essential to our humanity if we let AI create on our behalf?
Well, thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it. I just don't think that there is a risk for people who are inherently creative that they're ever going to lose that part of themselves. I see it very much as a tool and a partner for humanity to receive further inspiration. Maybe for people who are not musicians or are not using it on a daily basis already, they might be in a position where they're saying, okay, I'm creating a song here and now it's finished. But people who use, who are professional songwriters and who are spending their time, it will get you maybe 60% of the way there, 70% of the way there. And from there, you're gonna have to use your creativity to make it unique, to make it specific to yourself, to give that song your thumbprint that's uniquely you.
Okay, I would like Jack to ask you about emotions. I mean, music at its core is an attempt to actually evoke emotions. That's what turns a good song into a great song, and its ability to touch something deep within us. So the question is, can emotions, something so subjective, so delicate, so personal, even be translated into an algorithm? Can we actually quantify what makes us cry when we hear a song?
I don't know that we should look at it as it's the algorithm's responsibility. Let's keep in mind that an algorithm and AI is created by us. So already it's us, essentially. And then it's a matter of us understanding how to take that and turn it into something that's great. I have been working around technology for a very long time. And each time technology's come, we've sometimes ruined it. We've broken things, we've done things wrong until we've figured it out, how to actually do it. Unfortunately, there's been records that have been ruined because we didn't know how to do it yet. But there's always been accidents that have yielded a great result. And if you consider that really what we're supposed to be doing here is effectively telehealth, right? We make things and they go out into the world and we don't know where they're gonna go. They're poems, and they're gonna change people's lives. I don't know how that gets in the way, that being AI, as much as it being able to give us the ability to try things and have something reflect to us a thought or a process of something that we like, that we can look at and either make it better. It's a tool 100 million quadruple %. I'll say one last thing, which is, I recall when one of the first records I ever made using samples, right? There were rules, okay? If it's more than this many bars, you can't use it. If it's, the melody is 5 notes out of the 4, you can't, there were actual rules of what you could use when you were first doing sampling, right? And we found ways to get around it. But the thing I never really understood is if somebody wants to talk about the feeling of a 1968 Impala on a Sunday at the park, I need Purple Blues Persuasion to give that feeling. Nothing gives me that feeling, and if you know that song, that's a classic example of something that makes you feel that feeling. So why would you take that away from the artist? Why would you not let the artist have that? And so this will happen with AI. AI will give us things that we could never do by ourselves. It will definitely do that. And we'll look back on it in a decade and see the beauty of it as it grew.
Okay, speaking about this process and the spark, I mean, Rami, I would like to ask you, you created some of the classical Israeli songs, and in every musical piece...
Just 1 second, because we have here monitors, and it would be great if we could also hear what people are saying here, because I'm kind of deaf, and if I don't hear it, I really listen to you like this, but I can't understand what you're saying. אפשר מוניטור קצת פה? AI, like you, AI, the monitor over here. Hello, give me a talk. Can you?
Okay. So, what I'm asking is about the spark. In every musical piece you create, there's a moment when an idea becomes a melody, when emotions become sound. So, can you describe this moment for us? I mean, what happens there? Do you think AI can experience or replicate this magical moment, or is it something that remains uniquely human?
You mean, you're talking about the moment, there's this spark when something is born, it's like a baby.
Yeah.
You know? Well, that's a great question. If AI gets to that place where people are scaring us all the time, that they're on their way to replace Homo sapiens. It's this thing that's being talked about, and Noah Harari is talking about it and writing about it. It's the key question, actually, because using AI as a tool, we're all using it, it's fine, but when you sit and there's this, you said it right, it's like this spark that happens, and there's no way for you to describe what happened. How is that like from this nothing, like something is born, something that, and then we're all influenced. We're influenced by Bach, and we're influenced by Mozart, and we're influenced by the Beatles and by Nirvana, and everything comes to us, but this connection between all these influence into you and what you were born with, and your failures, and your parents, and your and your surrounding. When all this comes into you and it comes in, it's something that you cannot describe, and I don't know. It looks to me impossible, but really? Maybe, how is this AI going to relive all our flaws? Because everybody's talking about it. It's so perfect. It's so perfect. I think art is the imperfect, which makes it that kind of emotion.
We'll speak about the imperfect in a second, but thanks very much. Let's move to the legal world. Lital, one of the main issues currently being litigated in court is the question whether copyrighted material can be used to train AI system. And the way AI works is basically that it is being trained on millions or even today billions of work, and the question arises if it's fair use or copyright infringement. And while in the US, basically several courts indicated, like in the case of Meta and Anthropic, that this may be a fair use. Recent German case, the case of Gemma, decided that such use constitutes copyright infringement. So you wrote actually the pioneer basically under the Ministry of Justice, this opinion that is claiming that this is fair use, but I'd like to ask you, which attitude do you think is more aligned with where AI is going?
Thank you so much. So this really touches on a very personal angle for me, because I wrote the first governmental opinion in the world on whether we are allowed or not to train AI on copyrighted materials, and I think we are, and I'll tell you why. Let's leave music for a second and think of maybe autonomous cars, right? Because what I want to say is that when we use works for training, we use them in a very, very new way. And in legalese, we call this transformativeness, which means that we transform the work. And what do I mean by that? When we show autonomous cars for training, films, then we don't show them the films in order for them to be really, really excited by the plot or by any scene or anything. They learn physics. Think, for example, of the idea of object permanence, right? The idea that things exist even though we don't see them. You know, like babies develop this idea when they're 8 to 12 months old. This is why the peekaboo games don't work at this age anymore. But machines don't know that. And we need them to know that because we need autonomous cars to realize that when pedestrians walk on the sidewalk and then they disappear behind a tree, and that they're going to reappear, and that the autonomous car shouldn't drive through, right? But to learn that, they really, really need to see many films that objects disappear and reappear and disappear and reappear. That's the only way for them to learn. But the fact that we're using that film, does it really harm anybody? Think of the maybe producer of music or film who wrote something on 2014. Did they really think of machine training on 2025? They didn't. So they didn't really need it for an expectation. They didn't expect to make any profit from that market. It's a very, very new market. So that's the main idea, but it has limitations. For example, if you have this idea of like taking this one amazing artist and train a machine that is only going to know that style of that artist, let's say I have a Rami Kleinstein.ai or something like that, and then I'm going to compete with that artist on his market, then this is not fair use, right? This is copyright infringement. And on this ground, I just want to distinguish the Gamma case, because what Gamma did in this German case, they produced verbatim the source and the original work. And this is outright copyright infringement. So, but the problem is the output. It's what the AI is spitting out. It's not in the training stage.
Okay. Sharon, you were a lead singer for Gan Chayot, and you lost, in fact, your ability to sing due to a permanent vocal cord damage. But using AI, you can now recreate and re-release, and you've actually done it, re-released a song you recorded some 25 years ago with AI, and AI enabled you to reverse engineer and restore the song. So would you want to release a new album based on your old recordings?
Thank you, Eyal. The idea is great, but I want to understand something. I want to explain something. Reverse engineering that AI enabled us already now is amazing, and it was unheard of. So I could have taken what I did last year. I took a demo that I recorded at home on a tape cassette with an acoustic guitar and myself singing, and I made a new song out of it. And it's something that couldn't even be thought of a few years ago. But we did use the original vocal performance at the demo. Why? I gave the great producer of the song, Itai Tzuk, the separated vocal tracks from my previous albums, and he tried in some way to do something like Oded explained in his talk, in order to use my voice singing this song from scratch. But it didn't work. Because when we talk about vocal performances, we don't look only for perfection or for sound quality. We also look for expression, for dynamics, for passion. And this is something that I think that we're not there yet with AI. I hope we'll be.
Yet.
But I'm just one small, if you want, I'm just one little drop in the ocean of music. I want to say something in large, because Rami talked about Bach or Mozart. Now, in the days of Bach and Mozart, they could never even imagine that their music is going to be recorded or played everywhere on the globe through radio or TV, or being streamed to the palm of our hands right now, as it happens now. So I think that with AI, we do have enormous possibilities, for instance, to think how Rami's music is going to be presented, communicated, delivered to people in 3 decades from now on. Who knows? And I think that the options are amazing.
Okay. Wendy, imagine you hear a song that deeply moves you and brings you to tears and fills you with inspiration, and only later you discover basically that it was created by AI. So is your feeling less authentic? Is the music less valuable? Or does the meaning perhaps lies within you, the listener, rather than the creator?
I definitely believe that If something moves you, you should not worry about how it was made. If I watch Star Wars, I know it's not real, but I can be moved by a scene. Same thing with music. If there's a tool that can access human emotions and it's done beautifully, then we should embrace it. Curation is going to be the biggest part of AI because there's going to be so much more content that is delivered easily. And so the quality of the content will be at a certain level. And for the real creators out there to bring it to the next level, that is going to be the biggest part to kind of be the bottleneck and find the art that is worth listening to and embracing.
It's very interesting. Jack, the very basis of creativity is currently changing. Is the way we talk about to the device is the same way basically as we talk to musicians? I mean, have you ever worked with AI not as a tool but as a kind of creative partner, something or someone that suggests idea, challenges you, takes you in unexpected directions? So how did it feel? Is it different from working with a human musician?
I don't think it's that different. I mean, I think we've already been doing AI for 50 years because if you were to talk to any major artist you could think of right now, and ask them, do you know who the Beatles are, or do you know something from the 70s or something from the 80s or something from the 90s? Yes, they know every one of those decades because each one of those decades brought beautiful things to music. A lot of us feel the 80s was the place where music and technology actually verged the best so far. And I have a feeling this is going to be the next one because we didn't get it in the 90s and the 2000s. So my point with that is we already do that. We already sit in a room and say, you know, someone says, you know that the second verse in that song, Everyone Wants to Rule the World? Yeah, there's that synthesizer. Open up Spotify, let's hear that. And we listen to Spotify, go, oh, that's a really cool idea, and the person's messing around with the idea. I have no idea what the difference is between that or AI scraping the net. I don't see any difference. It's the same exact thing. So we roll around, we've already done that. We're already AI taking ideas already and using them. We're already influenced. We already grew up in the back seat of our car when our parents were driving, listening to some old record that was going in our brain and affecting what we create. So we are already using art as a synthesis, because right, art is a synthesis of everything that came before it. So all AI is doing is getting us there faster, and I think AI is going to be great for demos, actually. It's going to be really amazing to demo things. So it's not that different. I've talked to it, I've used it. I don't think it's that different, personally.
Now, Rami, you spoke about the mistakes. Many of the great innovations in music came from mistakes, from happy accidents or from moments of improvisation that weren't planned. So AI is designed to avoid mistakes and to optimize and to calculate. So is human failure actually the source of creativity? Are we at risk of creating a music that is perfect music that lacks a soul?
Well, unless, it's close to what I said before, unless AI learns to make mistakes, I don't know where it will be, because we have these producers that their whole life is about, and they say it like there's a guy named Brian Eno, and anything he did, he said the best things we did were from mistakes. And no, let's use that. And how does that would be that would be the challenge for AI to get to that place, because I've made so many turns when I was working on a song, and suddenly I say, but that's a nice mistake, and in that sense, that makes it the individual artist special. There's this song that I played live with Rita in the studio, and we were looking for a great vocal performance, and at the end the piano I glitched and there was this mistake, and I said, but then the producer said, Louis Love said, no, it's great. The most important thing is that Rita sang beautifully and everything. And then Moshe Levy, a great guy, he went on stage, and he plays the song with Rita, and with that mistake, and it's, oh no, it's beautiful. So that would be the challenge of the AI.
The human aspect. Lital, we spoke about the input, now let's speak about the output. I mean, copyright law is based on the assumption of a human author, but what happens when when there isn't an author? So if AI creates a song or other work, who shall own such a work? It could be maybe 6 people, it could be the programmer, it could be the user, it could be the machine, maybe joint authorship, or perhaps there should be no copyright at all, because, I mean, basically there's no creator. So the US Copyright Office so far refused to register works created with AI. The Copyright Office sees the prompt as a gamble, something of a probability issue. Is this the right attitude, or should we acknowledge a contribution of AI? And related to that, Professor Dan Brook, the late Dan Brook, in his article Cheap Creativity and What It Will Do, he claims that due to the mass production by AI, we should shift our attention basically from the issue of ownership to the question of the cultural value and authenticity.
Wow, that's a great question. And you know, to answer that, we need to first ask ourselves, why do we have copyright at all, right? What's the idea? And there are mainly maybe 3 ideas, 3 rationales. The first is Locke's work theory. If you put your work on something, then it's yours. If you take an apple from a tree, it's yours because it was your hand that picked it up. But then the second is Hegel's personality theory that says, well, if you create something, it's an extension of yourself, then it becomes your own. And then the third is the theory of incentives. If you want people to create, you need to give them ownership of what they create, because otherwise, once it's created, everybody's gonna copy it. It's not like a house that only one person can live in. It's a song, it can be moved everywhere. The first 2, I think, are irrelevant to machines. They don't have personalities, even though they sometimes appear as if they do, but they don't yet. And then the work theory, also, they're not laboring, they're computing, it's something completely different. And the question is then, do we need incentives for AI creativity? And the answer is probably not the same way that we need for human beings. I mean, AI would create if you press enter, not if it has any economic incentives, and therefore you might not need anything in order for them to create, right? To do that. But then it also comes to something that Wendy said that's, I really, really want to think more about that, which is that if we enjoy the music, then we don't care about the source. Because if we still need copyright in order to incentivize creativity, then why? Do we want creativity just for consumption so that people can enjoy what is created? Or do we see something intrinsic in the idea of human creativity? Do we want human beings not only to enjoy music, but to be able to create music? And then another small point, what about the brain rot, right? Like we all, if AI creates more music, then we create less, right? Like nobody is able to navigate without Google Maps or Waze anymore. We won't be able to create because AI is just doing it. The parts we don't use in our brains are not usable. Therefore, the question is first, do we need to incentivize AI to create? Probably not. And if we still want to create, if we still want human beings to create, how do we do it in a world where AI creates so much in other things? And maybe one possible answer is to change something about copyright. Maybe it's not an all or nothing answer. It's not that the machine doesn't get copyright at all and humans get everything. But maybe because we're talking about hybrid world, maybe the more humans create with machines, the less copyright they need. So it's not that we get all copyright even though we use machines, but we get a little less copyright. We don't get a whole so many rights or for so long. We get a little less the more we involve machine because we need less incentives. So we definitely need to think of other frameworks to think about that, and this is one option.
Okay, Sharon, you've recently founded Josie, a startup assisting people to discover new music through the people they like, but everything is based on AI. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, sure. Josie, we just released the first our MVP last month. We already have more than 6,000 registered users, so you're all welcome. And I'll discuss it from two aspects. One, in terms of building and the technology, we have a great CTO, my partner, Israel Roth, who was also the co-founder and CTO of an Israeli unicorn, K-Health, in health tech. And Israel was able to build what Josie already does with the help of one or two freelancers in about 5 to 6 months work. 2 or 3 years ago, we would have needed something like 5 to 8 full-time employees, and it would take us about 2 to 3 years to build what we did so fast, so quick. So in terms of building or in terms of tech, AI is amazing, but I want to talk about the core thing. Our motto is discover music through the people who inspire you. And what we tend to do is we build a marketplace to connect between music lovers and music influencers. How does AI help us? I'll give 2 short, quick examples. Example number 1, Sha'anan Street. If you're an Israeli and you love hip-hop, you know that you should follow Sha'anan Street's recommendations on Josie. But if you're not in Israel, if you live, let's say, not in Tel Aviv, but in Buenos Aires or Seoul or Moscow, and you love hip-hop, the name Sha'anan Street doesn't mean anything to you. You don't know that he's the leader of the best and most popular hip-hop band in Israel. So we can connect you with that, because if you're a hip-hop lover anywhere on the globe, and we have hip-hop experts anywhere on the globe, we can connect the two of you. Example number 2. Yoav Kutner. Yoav Kutner is maybe the most known radio DJ and music editor in Israel, and he's an expert on rock music. His name means nothing to anyone outside of Israel, but if we connect him with people who will love his recommendations, his taste, the music that he's recommending on his playlist, we build a great marketplace. So this is something that we can do, and AI enables us to connect music lovers and music influencers in ways that current social media and current music streamers can't do. But again, the point is to embed the human communication and not to make it mass production by anonymous algorithms.
Okay. Wendy, you discovered Lady Gaga and was instrumental in breaking her into a global star. I mean, tell us, what did you see in her that others missed? I mean, what was the uniqueness? And the question that interests me is, was this uniqueness measurable? I mean, was it something in the voice, in the technique, in the presence, things that AI might be able to analyze? Or was it something deeper, the soul, the charisma, that cannot be quantified? And looking forward, in a world where algorithms decides who gets exposure, who rises to the top of the playlist, would such an artist like her be discovered today? I mean, or would the algorithm prefer something else, something safer, more predictable, more average?
Well, those are a lot of questions. Well, let's take it in parts. What did I see in her? There were certain things that were quantifiable and others that were not quantifiable. She was playing in a small club, about maybe 300 to 500 people maximum, and she was playing with some very amateur musicians playing mediocre songs. And even though the guitar was too loud and the musicians were not in time and the sound man was in the back flirting with some girl and not paying attention to the sound whatsoever, she was great. And her tone, her timbre, her accuracy, her pitch was spot on, and those things are quantifiable. What wasn't quantifiable was I couldn't take my eyes off her. She had a presence that was like a lion. She was singing to the back of the stadium, even though there were no more than probably 300 people in the room. And that's when you know you have a star. The second part of that question, could you just repeat it? Because there are a lot.
Whether AI, in a world where algorithms will decide that it's rise or something, would such an artist like her be discovered today? Or would the algorithm prefer something else, something safer, something more average?
Well, in my opinion, I don't believe that algorithms bring artists to the top of the charts. I believe labels and money bring artists to the top of the charts, and they pay for the top spot. Many times they pay for Grammy Awards. Many times they pay for all kinds of opportunities, and those people have been in control for as long as time. I think algorithms will be changing greatly in the next few years, especially if I have anything to do with it. And would she go to the top of the charts and be popular? What I love about, our work with Lady Gaga was we were setting out to do something that was very unique. And as we discussed previously, AI has not put together so many things that are unique. They're incredibly average and predictable. And so if you want something unpredictable, you have to create it with the human hand at this point.
Thanks very much. And from Lady Gaga to the Beatles, we're really fortunate to have such iconic people. So Jack, basically you were very fortunate to work with some of the most iconic artists, including even George Harrison from the Beatles. Now, when people hear the Beatles, they're not just hearing sounds, they're hearing a story, an experience, an era, emotions. Does this meaning depend on knowing that there are real people behind the music, or can it exist even when it was created by an algorithm? And also, more than 60 years have passed, and the Beatles basically are still being played, still influencing, still relevant. What makes music timeless? And can AI, which can create music tailored to each generation taste, create something that will last for such a long time?
So, first of all, AI is a promise that's not been realized yet. We have to keep that in mind. It's still in the infant stage. I will take a page out of what she just said a little bit and talked about something that you might find interesting, not find. It's a little bit of a turn, but I was thinking about it today. As a record producer, you make decisions, right? So one of the very first sessions I ever was on when I was starting was in New York. And I was working with Eric Clapton and George Harrison on an Eric Clapton record. And we were working, and about the third day or so, we recorded one song, and George Harrison said to Eric Clapton, why don't we do that thing like we did on Layla? This is one of the very famous Eric Clapton songs, where you play a guitar line and I play a guitar line, and we trade back and forth guitar lines. And Clapton's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So they walk out there and they plug in, and of course, the sound that Eric Clapton had was fabulous because it's in his hand. You can't control that. It's just the way he plays, his body, everything is part of the sound, and it's just beautiful. And when Harrison would play, wasn't that great? His playing was amazing. His tonality was horrible. What he was playing was amazing, but he didn't have a great tone. Nothing like Eric, right? And as a new guy coming up, I'm sitting behind the console thinking, oh, wow, what am I going to do? 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 And they came in to listen, and George Harrison said, well, let's listen to it back. And Clapton goes, I'm going to go out and have a coffee, and let me know what you think. So he leaves, and it's myself and Eric Clapton, George Harrison, and my assistant, and nobody else. And I'm playing it back, and I'm thinking to myself, I know what's going to happen. He's going to ask me, why does his sound so much better than my sound? I know he's going to ask me that question, and I have no idea how I'm going to answer that. And it's not going to be, well, you're not a Beatle, because he is a Beatle. So, what am I going to say, right? Sure enough, he motions to turn down the volume. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And so I turn down the volume, and he goes, so I'm listening to it, and, Eric's sound is just so it's out of this world. I mean, it's beautiful. And my tone, and just then the door opens and it's Clapton. I'm like, Saved by the Bell, right? And Eric Clapton looks at George Harrison and goes, what do you think? He goes, okay, I think it's really great, and I think it's the right direction. And it's exactly what we need to do. But you know the guitar that you're playing? He goes, yeah, the silver Stratocaster guitar I'm playing. He goes, you know, I came in yesterday morning early, and I tried your guitar that you're playing right now. And there's something about the way it lays in my hand. I just feel like it's buttered. He goes, George, are you saying that you want to play my guitar and we could just switch? He goes, well, of course, I don't care. There's 35 guitars out there. I'll tell you what, we'll just switch. You'll play mine and I'll play yours. Guess what happened? Tone's amazing, Eric Clapton. Tone not amazing on George Harrison, right? So they come in, and I'm almost there. I'm going someplace with this that I think is important. They come in to listen, and I'm sitting like this, and I'm like, don't look at him. He knows, you know what he's doing. Just don't contact eyes to him. Just keep looking forward. And another person came in the room, and that natural thing happened where you turn and you look. And I connected with him, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and he goes, and it's dead silence between us, and he starts laughing. I start laughing, like high school kids. He goes, I had to try. And the innocence of that, the innocence of I had to try, was really amazing. And how that relates to this panel is I think to myself, okay, as a record producer, would I take AI and go, all right, I can take Harrison's guitar, make it any tone I want it to be, make it exactly like Eric's. I could make it better than Eric's. Is that the right move? Because his thing had a feeling and emotion to it in its recklessness and its unbeautifulness that the other guy didn't have. So that would have been a mistake, right? So one last thing. The other lesson that happened was I remember being in a room. It's myself, Pharrell Williams, Dr. Dre, and Will.i.am. And I asked each one of them, what's the most important thing when you're making a record? I thought, this is a great moment. We were waiting for another guy to come. They hadn't come yet. And everyone had their answer, and Pharrell Williams had exactly the same answer I had in my head, which was, I try to be as childlike as I can. We need to view this as with a childlike mode of like, what could it be? Like, let's not put it in a box. It's a beautiful thing. Take a child look, just look at it through like child eyes of the simplicity of actually the complexity. It's that combination that's going to make it amazing.
It's a great story, and yeah. And it leads us to smoothly to the question of the intrinsic motivation. Rami, let's imagine this scenario that in 5 years AI can create better than you, faster, cheaper, and perfectly tailored to each listener's taste. Would you still continue creating? I mean, why? What gives you the passion, the need, despite everything?
Well, I've never looked at what I do as a competition. Never. Any competition for me in when I look at music is weird because there's so much music out there, and it gets more and more. And I remember I was I think I was around 24. I came home one day, and our neighbors just came right on the next building, and they came. And it was like the afternoon, and they put on music, and it was electronic music, and there was no vocals, and it wasn't a song, and it was and so okay. And is the song going to come in or something? It was years ago, and it was just the beginning. And they're walking around. They're not listening to it. It's their vibe, and they're walking around talking on the phone and everything. The music. It's music is everything. I think that the creativity of a man who just needs to do it doesn't have anything to do with AI or even, it doesn't have to be AI, it's just a genre. You have electronic music that everybody comes up to me and says, what do you say about this genre? What do you say about this? If it's good music, it's good music. And I'm going to be me, I have to be me, and I'm going to write music. I hope till the day I die. That's it,
Lital, does the listener have the right to know if the music they're hearing was created by AI? Should it be like a mandatory disclosure or required labeling, or does it not matter? Because if it sounds good, who cares? Who created it?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Because today, even without AI, not all artists disclose their identity. Sometimes they are more comfortable to write anonymously, and sometimes that's part of the art. You don't want the author's biography to outshadow the plot or the characters. So sometimes that's part of the idea. So why, when it comes to AI, everything changes, and now we really, really need to know exactly how it was created, and I'm not even talking about the world of hybrid, right, that you've created, that sometimes you just plug in some AI feature, so now you have to disclose everything, and until now not. I think that it would be a context question. So if you create a deep fake, so if you are creating something that some people might think is real or has happened, or a text that describes something that didn't really happen but people might think that it did, or if my students submit a paper written by AI, which happens way too often, then they probably should disclose these things because we don't want systems to lie to people, right? But then on the other hand, if it's just art, or if it's an idea, if it's anything that is not deceiving people, then I would say just let it go, let them create the way they want.
Okay. Sharon, speaking about music education in the AI era, what happens basically to the music education? You have a 10-year-old kid. I mean, is it still worthwhile to teach children to play instruments or music theory? Or should we perhaps teach other skills which are entirely different, like how to use AI, how to collaborate with it, how to maintain human uniqueness, even as technology advances?
Well, I think we should teach everything that we can teach. And I think that even regardless of musical education, we will never lose the qualities of the human touch between our fingers or feet or our mouth with instruments, with musical instruments, with acoustic instruments. Because I think that even the therapeutical element of a child putting his fingers on a real piano or playing a guitar or putting a saxophone in his mouth, this is something that we as humans will always need. But AI does give us amazing learning tools, and I think that the key word from my point of view is taste. And by taste, I mean how do we teach the future generations to become even, to express more their individuality, to develop their senses, their uniqueness, and not use an eye in order to make them, if you want, like a part of a mass consumption and mass production of humans that are going to be, let's say, real good consumers, if not the top 5 internet leaders, then maybe in a few years the top 5 AI company leaders. So this is, I think, this would be something wrong, but AI can teach each of us, and still musical instruments have their own respect, and I think that this is something that we will never lose.
Okay. When you've established Music Soul, this is a one-stop streaming platform that uses AI to allow artists to retain substantial amount of the streaming platform and advertising. I mean, can you tell us how do you see the monetization of media in the age of AI?
Well, I'm really excited to tell you about Music Soul. It is an AI platform. It is pop culture's first super app. What I mean by that is it's like an Amazon or a WeChat. It's as if Spotify, Ticketmaster, Instagram, eBay, and LinkedIn had a baby. But it uses AI to drive data-driven mass promotion from the brands to every user, so that as soon as you sign up for free, each user is matched through AI with a brand based on a shared set of data, and the engagement is automated so that if I post a song based on my AI data match, I can receive 150 million eyeballs to my content, or a photo, or whatever content that I've created. And so this gives everybody a shot, and it evens the playing field with data-driven users that will be interested in your music because your data is connected. And this is a great use of AI to be able to give mass promotion to artists and content creators, and then we, as a platform, give every user 70% of all streaming and advertising revenues. This is huge because currently the royalty rate is 0.004 cents per stream. So Snoop Dogg recently had 1 billion streams on Spotify, 1 billion with a capital B, and made less than $45,000. And that's Snoop Dogg. So imagine if you're not in the top 1%. How are you going to survive? Maybe you don't have a label to put you on tour, because basically artists are making their money from ancillary revenue streams. They're not making it off their music. They're making out off of selling t-shirts and ticket sales. But what if you can't really afford to do that? Now this is going to revolutionize not only the music business, but all media, because now the layman, the common person, can actually monetize their media and have it promoted. And it also takes away this popularity contest that is absolutely, heart-wrenching for people if they spent their, time, effort, and energy to create a new song, and it gets 3 likes or, 5 views or whatnot. It's very disheartening. So now we don't think Picasso's better than Monet because he has more followers. We eradicated the followers, and each person will get, I'll throw 150 million eyeballs at you from Estee Lauder, or from Fanatics, or Home Depot, or whoever your data matches with, and pay you 70%. So I think there's a very bright future for the monetization of media through AI.
It's very important. Jack, let's speak about 20 years. I mean, what does the music industry will look like? I mean, will there still be professional musicians as we know them today? Or will human music become a kind of luxury, like organic food or handmade clothing, something people will pay premium for because it's authentic? And how can the music industry prepare and adapt to the changes which are expected?
Humans always have a way of pivoting and making something work. So I don't think it's going to be that much different. I think we're still the same. People still want the house. They want the white picket fence. They want the dog. It hasn't changed for years and years and years and years and years. From the caveman to right now, it's the same thing. So I think us humans, we're the same. And it'll be just a matter of making it work for everybody, in the best way it can. I don't think it's going to change. I just don't. I know that sounds weird, but it hasn't changed. Why would it change all of a sudden because of AI? People have to remember, we made AI. It came from a human. Didn't come from some chip that just came out of the ground and started, NVIDIA didn't make it. We made it. So you have to just keep that in mind. We're still humans. We still like the same things, the fuzzy kitten. We're still humans. It's not going to go away.
I think that this is the first time that actually AI replaces the creative process itself. So this is something slightly different than previous tools, but we'll have to wait and see. And also the pace is
Well, you can say this about so many other technologies. I can give you a list of technologies that I have lived that completely changed the landscape, really changed it. We kept going. We just adapted it a different way. We will adapt this a different way. I don't think this is as much of a sea change as we think.
Rami, Lital spoke about the training mechanism. So, basically there are algorithms trained on millions of songs, including yours, for example, and then they create something new. Is that fair, or should you receive compensation, some sort of payment, or is it just inspiration, like artists have always influenced one another?
That's a question more for you than for me. But
how do you feel as an artist? How do you feel as an artist if the machine is trained on your songs and then create new songs?
Well, I would say that that we're all influenced, and the thing is that we're humans, and being in that group of humans, being influenced, that's one thing. And I'm not talking about stealing music. I'm talking about influences, and as I said before, when it comes, and you adapt it into your personality. But when we're talking about AI and you hear these influences, I don't think it's the same thing. And maybe in that sense, maybe you have to find a kind of rule just to find a way where the artists who have influenced do get a kind of royalty from that kind of thing, because it's not stealing, but it's influenced, and it's it's a machine. Okay, so now if it's a person, I come up and say, "Wow, thank you. That was like a tribute, even. I really like that you loved that, and you put that thing inside. Really, thank you." And who am I going to? I say to this machine, "Wow, you really grew on me." No, and then maybe that would be important.
Okay. And speaking, on the one hand, just such developments, basically, they contribute to the democratization of creativity, and anyone can become an artist, and that's fascinating. No need to know to play the piano, to draw, and it does assist us to overcome the technical barriers. But this is certainly different from the traditional creative process. So should the law adapt itself and create something different for this sort of works, for example, like maybe a shorter protection period and not 70 years?
Yeah, so I do think that copyright law is a bit too rigid for what we see now. Copyright extends to, first it's very easy to get copyright, then there are a few things that you're not allowed to do with the copyrighted music, and then for all works, it extends for the life of the author plus 70 years. That's a lot when it takes 30 seconds to produce a song. That's really, really a lot, and I think I spoke about it before. And definitely things need to change, and maybe it relates to what Rami was saying. Maybe we need to think of something that is not forbidding somebody to do something, which is what copyright is about these days, but moving to something that is more compensation-based. Again, in legalese, we call it liability rules instead of property rule. But I want to say something about what you were saying, because let's think of a market where everybody needs a license in order to get to train on copyrighted music, or to get inspiration, which means to train on copyrighted music. Because in this kind of world, we have a problem on both sides of the market. Who are you going to target to get a license from? You're going to go to record labels, you're going to go to big artists, you're going to go to people that you can get license for many, many songs from. You're not going to target indies or individual songwriters or new voices, emerging voices. Nobody's going to track them down. And this means that we're going to have music AI that is trained only on bulk music and is not hearing emerging voices. But the problem is even bigger on the other side of the market, because I don't know what you guys think. In my opinion, part of the problem in the tech world now, and specifically in AI, is how centralized it is already. Now imagine that you also must get a license, and in order to be able to compensate artists, you must get a license in order to train your machine. If you must get a license, then only the big companies who have huge legal teams and extensive licensing mechanisms will be able to train machines. And I think that's a problem, because we already see too much centralizations. And I think a lot of good things come from smaller artists and from smaller startups that train machines. So in a way, if we force some mechanism of licensing and some mechanism of compensation that is license-based, we may fall into a market that is very, very centralized on both sides of the market, and that's a price.
But what I'm saying is that if this small, if this just kid, this indie kid works with that, and then he needs a certain platform. He needs a certain platform, like the platform you're talking about, okay? So because, so if he does it from his home, how far can he get? He needs a platform. The minute he goes into that platform, this, Spotify or whatever, that will be a place where the artists can be compensated. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. So right. So one option is to let the market work with licensing the way I spoke about, which is the way licensing work now. Another way is for the government to manage some licensing scheme. I don't know what you think of the way our government or other governments work. I don't know if that's like the most efficient thing. And then another option...
We have a very efficient government. What are you talking about?
That's what I was meaning to say. And then the third option is what Rami was saying, which is think of something new. Think of a platform like Wendy was saying. Think of like some Spotify but different way of like micropayments or micro something. And that's something that the market may have created or may create, and maybe we need a competition on that front. But we still need to remember that the more we add compensation into the equation, the less startup companies that are just want to do it will be able to do that. So that's a trade-off. I'm not saying that the artists need to pay the price for startups to emerge, but we need to weigh the costs and benefits of both ways.
I think that's what Wendy is suggesting, and that's very important. And before we conclude, one question to Sharon. I mean, as Jack mentioned, basically, I mean, let's be honest for a moment. Aren't we exaggerating for a bit? Because throughout history, every new technology has aroused concerns and fears, from the printing press to the gramophone, from the drum machine to sampling, and in the end, art survived, as you mentioned. So, and continues and adapted itself. So maybe this time too, it's exactly what will happen, and AI basically is simply another tool, like all other tools that came before it.
Absolutely. I think that my lesson in life, and this is my last day as a 59-year-old teenager, because tomorrow I'll be 60.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Sharon.
So, thank you. My lesson in life is always fear humans and fear less technology. Now, I'm half joking, of course, because you should always love and trust people and also suspect tech. But, as Jack said before, there were tyrants and there were mass killings even before print, before electricity, before any new technology. And unfortunately, we may assume that it will continue, it will happen even in AI days, and even, let's say, in the year 500 years from now, when we will not exist, but AI may be only just one small remark for humanity way then. So I think that the question is really, again, how do we use AI to increase our humanity, our individuality, to empower us as human beings, and not to take away what makes each and every one of us so special and unique and creative.
Rami, you had a story about...
Well, I really agree with that, and Jack said it too. It's been around for 50 years, the samples and everything. But I remember this story when I was still in the army, and there was this talk about an electric drum, and not the small ones with something like a drum. The Lynn drum came out, and there was this song by the Human League. Don't You Want Me, Baby? And I was like a kid, and I was walking around. These are not drums. No, this is electronic. And it sounded so human. And I knew Jean-Paul Zimbris, and he went crazy. He went crazy.
He's a great drummer.
Listened to that, great drummer. He listened to that, and he took a week vacation to Eilat just to simmer down, because that is what technology does. You're in awe and you're scared. You have this, we're going to be replaced now. And it happens all the time, we're scared. But at the end, as Jack said also too, I think we will survive at the end, hopefully.
Okay, so so we have to conclude, so I'd like to ask each one of you a short 1 minute question about concluding question. First of all is, are you afraid of AI? And either one advice to the next generation, for example, if you had to give one piece of advice to the young musicians starting out today in a world where AI already exists and will only continue to develop, what would you tell them? Or a concluding thought about this revolution and its impact. So first, are you afraid? And then one of the two.
I am not afraid of AI. I think that creative people will always create. Just like you have an opinion, if we're having a conversation, you have an opinion, you're not gonna, if I give you my opinion and yours differs, you're always gonna offer your opinion, and it will build and it'll create a new conversation, and we will be able to inspire one another through AI, especially in music. But we're seeing huge advances in healthcare technology as well. So there are many uses for AI that will improve humankind.
Okay. Jack?
I'm not afraid of AI whatsoever. I do want to just say one thing that's a little bit not the question, which is, first of all, it's not the record companies, it's the publishers that have this responsibility. They're the ones that need to reinvent themselves, not the record labels. And secondly, there's the digital footprint. There's never been an easier time to understand who owned it, how it happened, where it went. We've never had that. So the stress of all this is like, it's stupid. No, we have a digital footprint for the first time, and the publishers need to get doing their job. It's not the record label. So I'll tell you that the thing you should always attach yourself to is publishing, not record labels. It's all about the publishing. And when I go to see artists, I always see where the publishers are, because the publishers are like the grandparents, right? They're the ones that care about the artist. They're the ones that want to get behind you. It's the labels are like, well, yeah, this band's really cool because there's a blonde and a brunette and they're 17. Yeah, tell me about the music. Well, and then they have this really cool, tell me about the music. You can't get them to talk about the music. The publishers are the ones that want to talk about what matters, the music, the song, the creation, and everything that it is. Get behind the publisher. They're the grandparents. They're the ones that give the artist, okay, here's $10,000 to help you. Don't you tell the label. Don't tell mom and dad. That's who you want to be behind. So my advice, publishers.
Thank you very much. Rami?
AI is, it's here. It's here. I already had, I worked with a producer here, and he was writing down, in the chorus, he was writing down the words, and 5 minutes later, there was this 20 gospel singers they were singing the song. It was like, so there's something about that. But again, it's all about, I think it's all about this connection between the human and the machine. Because without the AI, like going back 3 years or 4 years, you can hear the difference between a producer who who's great with the machine, and he's great with the loops, and he's great with the master, but he, chord-wise, it's going to be like very, very simple. It's fine, and I don't, it could be successful and everything. But if I don't feel something more, if it doesn't have something more musical in my taste, then, and that has to come from, from music, education. It has to come from somebody who worked at it, you know, who came and took the guitar or took the piano and went or to classical or jazz or listened to George Harrison or to Clapton and try to emulate and things, because that's what makes it more special. Maybe special, that's the word.
Thanks very much.
Can I ask him one question? You said that the producer was writing down stuff. So you were talking and he was writing down things?
He was writing down the chorus. And well, I'm listening.
Because of what you were saying?
No. He was writing down the chorus because he said he wanted to have a choir, a gospel choir coming in. So I don't know how he did it because I'm not trained or something.
Right.
And it was put into something, I don't know. But you know, like 5 minutes later, there were 20 singers singing the choir.
You know, I had
blocks with harmony.
Because a large part of intelligence, right, is observation, period. And that axiom will never let you down. And I remember being with a woman named Susanna Hoffs, who had an artist. They had a band. That was Bangles, right? Susanna Hoffs? Yeah. It was a band called the Bangles. And she came in one day and she was like, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't feel anything. And I go, well, let's talk for a minute. And she's like, okay. And I go, what's the problem? She goes, my brother is a tragedy. He is the kingdom of tragedy. He's a tragedy of kingdom. I'm like, okay, there's a lyric right there. That's the song, King of Tragedy, right? So with AI, you could just go, okay, boom, King of Tragedy. What is it going to say? What is the King of Tragedy? What's the King of Tragedy in this year? What's the King of Tragedy this way? Is it a king? Is it queen? That's the stuff that's going to be awesome. But it still starts with that spark. That her brother was the King of Tragedy.
Thank you. Lital?
Afraid? Oh no, I'm not afraid because it's just too much fun. I think that maybe one thing I would tell myself and other lawyers, which is that the law needs to be a bit gentle, you know. Lawyers are always come from like some kind of inferiority complex, like the idea that technology runs really fast and then the law runs after, and like, hey, I have something to say too, please listen to me. And I think that's wrong. I think it's not a bug of the legal system, it's a feature. It's a good thing that technology runs ahead and artists do their things and the market does their thing, and then the law needs to watch and they need to fix things here and there. I mean, I don't think that everything that's going on the AI front or elsewhere in the world is perfect, but number one, perfect has never been my standard, but also I think that we just need not to cause harm, and we need to fix things here and there, and people will adapt. The human race will be just fine. Art is here to stay, and everything is really, really okay.
Amen.
Thank you. And last, Sharon?
I would say that, first of all, I'm not afraid at all. But second of all, I think that we might think or look at AI in the same way that human beings are already used to look at something like atomic energy or something like biochemistry, where we can choose, each of us, do we use it to our advantage or do we manipulate it to cause harm or to gain power and to corrupt ourselves as a society. So it's our choice, and it can both work against us or for us, and let's hope it will work for us as it can, and it can.
Technology is neutral, you're right. Nice. Thank you very, very much to all the distinguished guests. We can open it for 2-3 questions if you may have. Anyone I can't see? Yes, please.
Thank you. I'm Tal Rusak. I have a question along the lines I think was mentioned a few times. What is actually fundamentally different about AI as a technology, right? You don't disclose that the special effects in the movie are some sort of fake technology, or that the background or that the microphone is a better microphone. So from really all the perspectives here, what is fundamentally different, if anything, about AI? And I think some people already started addressing this. Thank you.
We didn't hear the question.
I'm asking, what is the fundamental difference about AI versus other technologies? So technologies have been a feature of creative work forever. You have, for example, a higher quality microphone, a better guitar, special effects in movies. No one would think to disclose the type of microphone that the singer used or potentially the type of guitar or the type of special effects. And yet when we talk about deepfake, and I'm not saying this is wrong, perhaps correctly so, there's this question marks that come up. Thank you very much.
Who wants to take that?
Can I dare to answer him? Yeah. I'm not a technologist at all, but I have an almost 10-year-old kid, and a year ago, he was crazy creating songs for his pet, for his dog, on Suno. And this is something that really is unheard of before, because he could give prompts, by the way, in Hebrew, and get the vocals in Hebrew on Suno, like a fully produced, written and everything song in 4 to 5 minutes even of a song. But how did it end? After 3 or 4 songs he created on Suno, he got bored. He never gets bored putting his hands on the piano, and he never learned to play, but he got bored. So the answer is that AI can do so much faster and can learn so much that it's amazing. We've never been in such a situation, but I'm not sure that as a stimulator, we haven't moved yet from the level of a gimmick, at least not on a professional level, but for amateurs. So we still need a lot to develop. But yes, it's unheard of opportunities.
Okay. Any other question I saw? Yes, please.
Hi, this is a question more for Lital. I'm Aria. I work in Stardust Audio with Peter Spacey. And the question is regarding licensing and copyright for commercial use. Nowadays, there are gatekeepers, as you said, that manage ownership, block AI music. So what is more likely, that the gatekeepers will remove their restrictions, or will law adapt? And what is your projection on how long will it take?
Tal, do you want to?
I just repeat it shortly, because I'm not sure I heard it well.
Basically, nowadays there are gatekeepers who are prohibiting the use of AI for commercial use, and on the other hand, on the other hand, law is basically is going to adapt or going to change in some way. How long do you think will it take until there will be a law that allowing hybrid music to be legal and monetized?
Yeah, I think
You go.
I can basically say that we have seen recently various deals where the giants, the leading companies are actually collaborating with Suno and the other companies. And I think eventually it is going to be a question of models which are going to be created. Also in Israel, there are a few companies that already training on licensed copyrighted work. So it is going to be eventually, I mean, it's something that is going to happen basically, and will create some sort of business models, new business models.
And I will just add that I agree, and I'll add that I think that the legal barrier is not that the law forbids things, but the uncertainty that surrounds a lot of these things. The law has said very, very little all over the world about everything about AI, but the fact that the law hasn't said enough could have created a barrier, but I think the market is overcoming it, and we do see a lot of innovation, as you said.
It takes time. We should understand that basically this really undermines the very basic essence of the legal system, which is based on the human author. 300 years, so it's not easy. It may take time, but eventually I believe it will be a business solution. Any last question? Yes, please.
My name is Eran. I'm an artist and events promoter, and I want to thank you, Wendy and Jack, for coming to Israel.
and teach you a word that Israeli artists know, kapayim.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, and they do deserve it. We really appreciate it. Yeah, one last question. Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Leo. My question is, AI is going to make music making very easy. So a lot of people are going to create music, a lot of people are going to create new songs. How can real artists, how can talented artists get above the massive crowd, which is going to be much more massive with AI?
The same way they're doing it right now. Do you know how much mediocrity there is out there? I mean, when you're a professional musician, you know, we can't listen to a song the way most people enjoy a song in a club or in a movie, because there's so much mediocrity out there. To be able to rise above and be unique and have great production and great sound and great mixing and mastering and amazing vocals and emotional and the whole 9 yards, it's like 1 in a million. It's like seeing a supermodel or seeing a great work of art. And so now with Music Soul, with my platform, many more people will have curated eyeballs on their content in a way that they've never had before, because it's mass promotion and it's data-driven mass promotion, and they're going to get paid for it. So this is one way, but in general, since the beginning of time, excellence always rises to the top. True creativity and great quality rises to the top, and amongst all the mediocrity, yes, curation is going to be more important. Curation and discovery are going to be more important than ever. And do you have a few things to say about this? I think you might.
I disagree with everything you said. 100%. You are correct. I agree with you 100%.
I'll take that.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you to all the distinguished guests. So just a few concluding words. So we have reached the conclusion of this fascinating day where we explore the future of creativity in the age of generative AI. So I think that throughout this session, we were exposed to the new technologies, heard inspiring insights from the industry leaders, and discussed the profound philosophical questions and legal challenges arising from this use of AI in the music and the other related creative industries. And the technological revolutions brings with it a dramatic change in the process of creating music, raising many, many questions that must continue to be explored. And it seems that we're on the cusp of a fundamental change. And AI, on the one hand, opened doors to a creativity, but it also presents significant challenges. And we must continue to examine, to question, and to investigate its impacts on the fields, to ensure that it is served to, as mentioned here, to enhance rather than diminish the creative expression. So I would like to thank all the distinguished speakers. We really appreciate you coming to Israel and being here with us today, and for the valuable contribution to the conference, to S. Horowitz and Co., and to Gili and all the week team for making this happen, to the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, and to all of you who are attending and engaging in this discussion. Let us hope that we continue together to build a future where AI and human creativity will blend harmoniously. And thank you all, and may you have a successful and creative journey ahead. Thank you very, very much.